engine we adore is a really useful engine, you know, 'cause the fat controller, he told him so. Now he's got a punchline to call his very own. He's the really useful engine we adore. He's the one, he's the number one. Thomas the Tank Engine. He's the really useful engine we adore.
Boco, the mixed traffic diesel engine, has lived on the island of Minnesota for a very long time. He works at the Soda China Clay Works, but sometimes goes out to do other work, whether it's on Edwards Branch Line or out on the main line. Boco has never got any problem, and he is always punctual. One day, Boco was hanging out at the brown turntable with Logan and Dustin as Philip came zooming in and shunting some tall coal cars. "Philip," cried Hector, "slow down, Boco's right in front of us." But it was too late. Philip smashed into Boco. Luckily, no one was hurt, but Boco stayed in the rails and didn't reach the edge. "My word," cried Philip. "I'm sorry, Boco. I didn't see you there." "It's okay, Philip," replied Boco back. "Accidents happen, but I think something inside me broke." "Oh dear, what have I done? I'm sorry, Boco, but I have to get back to work." And Philip quickly zoomed away with Hector and the coal hopper. "Are you alright, Boco?" asked Dustin, feeling quite worried. "I think so," he replied, "but let me try moving forward just in case." But as Boco began to move his wheels forward, he began to bobble and wobble up and down and side to side. "One of my springs broke," he cried as he came to a stop. "Then go to Teased to get a new one," said Logan. But as Boco got there, Dan and Dart had some bad news. "I'm sorry, Boco, but we cannot fix you right now. What he means is, we're all out of springs. But don't worry, though. We'll have more next week." Boco was very unhappy, but unfortunately there was nothing he can do. So he just rolled out of the diesel works in its bobbling condition. "Don't worry," consoled his driver. "On the other hand, though, you can still move at least." Later on, Boco arrived at the docks to collect the freight train. Salty and Bolster soon noticed this. "Ahoy there, Boco! I can see you're in the bobbling business." It's kind of a long story to explain, Salty, but I clearly do not want to talk about it. Bolster began laughing. "Look at that," he chuckled. "Boco is bobbling wobbling. More like Bobbling Boco is bobbling and wobbling." Salty glared at Bulstrode. "What? It's true. Boco is bobbling and wobbling." Boco felt very embarrassed and didn't say a word. He just rolled away. That night, Boco decided to stay at the airport, fearing his friends at the Soda China Clay Works can make fun of him for his bobbling condition. Jeremy was very surprised to see Boco at the airport during the night for the first time. "What are you doing here, Boco?" he asked. "Don't you normally stay at the clay pits during this time of night?" "Why, yes, Jeremy. But you see, this time I decided to stay here for the night because..." Then Boco decided to tell Jeremy about what happened to him today. "Oh dear," said Jeremy. That's horrible. But on the other hand, though, you can still move. Besides, if any engine notices your bobbling condition, just tell them what happened and just ignore what they say." "I have to agree," said Hank as he puffed in for the night. "One time, Boco, I accidentally bumped into a train so hard that I damaged my cow catcher. And at the steamworks, Victor and Kevin didn't have the right parts for me to fix it. So I had to wait for 2 weeks. 2 weeks? Cried Boco. That's a long time. It sure is, agreed Jeremy. But, like I said, ignore what they say by condition. I will, replied Boco. Thanks, Hank. Thanks, Jeremy. The next morning, as Boco arrived at the solar channel clay was bobbling, wobbling up and down, the other engines were about to wake up for them to see that Boco was bobbling and wobbling. Good morning, Boco, said Timothy. Where were you last night? We missed you. And why are you bobbling and wobbling? Is it a broken spring? Asked Marion. Or is it a bent wheel? Added Gator. It's just a broken spring, replied Boco. But don't worry, it's not that bad. I can still move and be really useful, but instead, I'm going to be bobbling and wobbling when it comes to doing that until next week. Well, said Bill as he puffed up. Well, if it isn't Boco, and now he's bobbling and wobbling. More like Bobbling Boco is now bobbling and wobbling, added Ben. Boco glared at the twins. The twins immediately felt silence as Boco got to work. Later on, a train full of stone was ready for Vickerstown as Boco was the one who was going to take it there. Are you sure about this, Boco? Asked Timothy. Especially in your bobbling condition? I'll be fine, Timothy. Thank you. And Boco rolled out the clay pits on his way towards Vickerstown, pulling the stone. Boco rounded some bends on his way towards Vickerstown and passed Diesel, Airy, and Bert who were talking. They soon noticed him, and they were very, very unimpressed. If I was in that condition, murmured Airy, I would be so embarrassed. Yeah, concurred Bert. If I was bobbling, wobbling like that, I'd rather stay here at the Diesel Works and wait until I get prepared no matter how long it'll take. The Flying Scotsman overheard this and saw Boco's bobbling and wobbling. He felt sorry for him. He wanted to help, so he thought for a moment. Then, I got it, he said quietly. I can bring some springs over from the mainland to help fix Boco's so he doesn't have to wait. And I think I found another way for me to get there without going through Vickerstown. At Vickerstown Station, Rosie, Gordon, and Mallory were each pulling coaches, and were very surprised to see Boco bobbling wobbling out of Henry's tunnel as he came to a stop right next to the station. Hello, Boco, said Rosie. You're bobbling wobbling today. Broken spring, am I right? Asked Mallard playfully. You got that right, said Boco sarcastically. Now you'll excuse me, I better drop off these stones somewhere. And Boco rolled away to drop off his train full of stone. That afternoon, Boco was on his way towards Vickerstown just for the night, where Bear, Connor, and Caitlin were about to hit the hay. Hello, Boco, said Caitlin. You're bobbling wobbling. What brings you here? I got a broken spring, replied Boco. So I was wondering if I can stay here for the night since it's too late for me to go back to the clay pits. Of course you can, replied Connor. Vickerstown Chess is for everyone, especially solar engines. And how did you end up having a broken spring? Asked Bear quite curiously. Well, I'm too tired to explain, yawned Boco. Let's get some sleep, shall we? Agreed, said Caitlin. Good night, Boco. Good night, Connor. Good night, Bear. Good night, Caitlin and Boco, and they replied wearily. And together, the four engines closed their eyes and quickly fell asleep. Just as the Flying Scotsman rolled out behind Vickerstown sheds, pulling a freight car with a crate full of springs. Ah, he whispered, I made it back to Soda from the mainland. And now, time for me to deliver this to the Diesel Works and tell Dan and daughter about it, making this a very good surprise for Boco, and he'll be super duper happy about this. And the Flying Scotsman slowly chuffed away towards the Diesel Works to tell Dan and Dart. The next morning, Boco, Connor, Caitlin, and Bear were just waking up as a flying Scotsman rolled in and blew his whistle loudly. Good morning, my mainland mates, and to you too, Boco, which I have a very special for you. Really? What is it? You'll see. Just follow me. Right this way to the diesel works. Okay then, I'm right behind you. As Bulk and the Flying Scotsman rolled into the diesel works, Den and Dub were outside waiting for them. Ah, Scotsman, said Den, you're here, and you brought Bulko as well. What he means is, insisted Dart, we got a surprise for you, Bulk, my friend. Yes, indeed, agreed the Flying Scotsman, and that would be is that this is a truck full of springs that I brought over from the mainland yesterday for you to be all fixed up in no time. Bulko gasped. Really? You're doing this for me, Scotsman? Why, sure, Bulko. Anything to help a friend in need. Ready to get fixed up? I sure am, replied Bulko happily. Let's say we do it. Later on, Bulko was all fixed up, and he was no longer wobbling as he rolled out of the diesel works. For him to realize the Flying Scotsman wasn't around. Scotsman? Scotsman, where are you? I'm over here, Bulko, he called. I had to move out of the way for a dead end dart to get a springs they need to fix you up. Oh, I see. Scotsman, I just want to say thank you. And do you want to stay with me at the brown turntable at Tidmouth for the night? Why, certainly, he replied. Besides, I got some coaches there waiting for me for tomorrow. And you're welcome. I'll see you there then. You too. Back in the diesel works, Den and Dart looked at each other with curious faces. Hey, Den, asked Dart. Yes, replied Den. I was wondering about something. What is it? I wonder how the Flying Scotsman managed to get this truck full of springs for Boco from the mainland without going through the Vickers Town Rolling Bridge. I'm not sure, replied Dan. But Scotsman did say that he didn't go through Vickerstown to get a truck full of springs from the mainland. Instead, he went to a different way, but he didn't want to tell us because that's his secret of going to different places both far and near. Ah, another way to get to Sodor without going through Vickerstown. The boss will be so pleased about this. That way, he can get onto the island of Sodor without anyone noticing him or before he gets noticed too. I gotta go back to the mainland and tell him about this.